A female cop visits a hotel to investigate a case, saying she's on the hunt for a peeping Tom, when suddenly there's a noise behind her.
하고 있는데
Luckily, the hotel owner intervened just in time.
이게 요즘에 볼펜처럼 그 초소형 장비들이 나와가지고 그거 찾기가 쉽지 않을 거예요.
But then the guy bends over. The owner takes the opportunity to make things worse, commenting that digital cameras are pretty cheap these days and noting that the most discreet ones are button cameras, which can capture someone without them even realizing it. He then laments about how times have changed, saying back in his school days, the worst anyone did was use a mirror to peek under a girl's skirt, nothing like all the fancy gear people use now. The hotel fell into complete silence. The man, now abandoning his tools, bolts in a panic. The female cop isn't about to let him get away. A chase ensues, with the man running for his life even when a car hits him and sends him flying several meters. He gets up and keeps sprinting like the wind. Meanwhile, the determined lady cop, though valuing her life, pushes on with fierce determination. Eventually, the man manages to shake her off. Just as he grabbed a kid's scooter, thinking he was safe, a figure suddenly appeared and effortlessly took him down. Mi-yeong steps in, ready to teach him a lesson, but as she grabs his hair, it comes off in her hand. Shocked, she thinks she's accidentally ripped off his scalp, causing her to scream in horror, but the man's scream is even louder. The lady cop standing nearby notices that the man has wet himself. This familiar scene triggers Mi-yeong's memory. She realizes she knows this guy from before. It turns out that 10 years ago, Mi-yeong encountered Sang-do during a drug bust. Confident in his numbers, Sang-do didn't take her seriously. Little did he know, Mi-yeong was a powerhouse, taking down his goons in just a few moves. Seeing Sang-do's cowardice, Mi-yeong didn't even bother fighting him. She just handed him the handcuffs and told him to put them on himself. Sang-do pretended to comply, but as soon as she looked away, he made a run for it. Mi-yeong chased him all the way to the rooftop. With nowhere left to go, Sang-do pulled out a knife, ready to fight to the death. But Mi-yeong wasn't playing fair. She drew her gun and aimed it at his head, relying on his limited knowledge. Sang-do knew cops weren't allowed to shoot unless their life was in danger, so he dared her to pull the trigger. To his surprise, Mi-yeong fired a shot into the air, making him feel brave again. Then, Mi-yeong emptied the bullets from her gun, reloaded a single bullet, and asked Sang-do if he had ever played Russian roulette. She explained that with one bullet in the chamber, if she fired twice, his chances of dying were just over 1/3. If he survived both shots, she would let him go. Before Sang-do could process this, Mi-yeong mused about his luck, hoping he'd be just as fortunate with the next shot. Sang-do, terrified, dropped to his knees and surrendered immediately. Ignoring his surrender, Mi-yeong started counting down from 5.
3, 2, 1. 너무 늦었어.
This scene was witnessed by a brother and sister on the neighboring rooftop. From that day on, Sang-do was left with a psychological scar. Every time he saw Mi-yeong, he couldn't help but wet his pants. The brother and sister were captivated by Mi-yeong's charisma. Eventually, the brother married Mi-yeong, and under her influence, the sister became a police officer. Today was their first joint mission, aimed at rescuing a female college student.
그리고 그 몰카에 나오는 남자 한 놈 손목에 그 문신이 같아. 그 손목에 눈에 띄는 뱀 한 마리가 그려져 있더라고. 이 100% 같은 놈들이야.
A man, frustrated with his pen not working, split it in two, causing ink to splash onto the stockings of the girl in front of him. Realizing his mistake, the man quickly apologized. However, the sound of a motorcycle drowned out his apology. Unaware, the man kept explaining, but his shaking hand sent another splatter of ink flying. Oblivious, the man noticed his phone on the ground. As he bent down, the woman turned around, and the ink splashed on a sensitive area. In her eyes, it seemed like he was deliberately avoiding responsibility after doing something bad. She grabbed a trash can, ready for revenge. A colleague, understanding the situation, urged she to stop through the earpiece, but Ji-hai paid no heed. In the end, the group was taken to the police station for public brawling. Ji-hai received a reprimand. This was part of a police operation. Someone had reported a pervert near the subway station, targeting flight attendants with collagen. The police decided to use Ji-hai as bait, with others assisting in the capture. As soon as they got into position, the pervert appeared, busy chatting and eating lunch with her male colleague. Ji-hai didn't notice the suspect's appearance.
썼어요.
언제?
봤죠?
not wanting to lose face in front of the junior officers. The senior officer, based on Ji-hai's description, randomly pointed out a man, imagining a whole scenario. This led to the opening scene. Not only did they fail to catch the suspect, but a video of police officers beating an innocent man was posted online. Public outrage ensued, with netizens supporting the man's lawsuit against the police. When asked if he wanted to sue, the man shook his head. Everyone thought they had encountered a model citizen, until the next moment. They found out the beaten man was Mi-yeong's husband, the former Tyrannosaurus of the police force.
저 보호자분, 아니 저기 박주무관님, 이게 방금 신촌역 과잉진압 동영상이라고?
Everyone sensed trouble, but Mi-yeong merely glanced at the female officer.
이렇게 조질 수가 있는 거냐고요. 설명 좀 해봐요, 아가씨.
From catching perverts to arresting their own family, the team had truly seen it all. One moment, Mi-yeong was at the police station defending her husband by scolding her sister-in-law. The next, the family was sitting together harmoniously. The way Mi-yeong and her sister-in-law sat together clearly showed who was really in charge at home, leaving the man's status questionable. Sure enough, when Mi-yeong spoke, it wasn't anything nice. Her sister-in-law, Ji-hai, tried to defend her brother, but the next moment, the situation shifted.
이 상황에 밥이 넘어가? 그럼 그 시간에 신촌은 왜 가?
내가 아침에 가라고 했어 안 했어?
The man, feeling hurt, asked why he was the one getting hit and then scolded. Realizing he couldn't win, he quickly stepped aside. The sister-in-law and the sister, who couldn't stand each other, started arguing again. The next day, they were in for a shock. Ji-hai had caused enough trouble to get demoted to the Civil Affairs Office, making them colleagues again. The Civil Affairs Office was undergoing budget cuts and staff evaluations. Mi-yeong was worried about her future since she wasn't good at flattering superiors or had any standout skills. Even the newly transferred Ji-hai was much more attractive than her.
그냥 말로 하세요, 말로.
A nervous-looking girl walked into the office, said she wanted to file a report, then dropped her phone and ran out. With her years of experience, Mi-yeong sensed something was wrong and chased after her with the phone.
학생!
After getting the girl into an ambulance, Mi-yeong knew the phone held the key. With the help of their tech-savvy colleague, they finally accessed the girl's message. She had been blackmailed with nude photos posted online. If the likes exceeded 30,000, the full video would be released. To help the girl, Mi-yeong and Ji-hai put aside their differences and teamed up with their colleague to catch the culprit.
기술 좀 쓰자.
They walked into a tattoo shop and asked the owner for perfume. The shop owner was puzzled, as he didn't sell perfume. Ji-hai quickly explained it was a special kind of perfume. The owner thought they were messing with him. Seeing Ji-hai struggle to communicate, Mi-yeong decided to handle it herself. The owner finally concluded these two were out of their minds. What he didn't know was that these oddly dressed women were actually undercover cops. They had learned from an informant that the suspect, who drugged and filmed college girls, was using a magic perfume targeting women and that it was sold at a tattoo shop in the north of the city. To avoid arousing suspicion, Mi-yeong and Ji-hai disguised themselves. Their stylish cop look turned into a frumpy, rural appearance. Mi-yeong, however, was lost in the shop owner's flattery. This led to the absurd opening scene, where their strange outfits and actions made the owner label them as lunatics. At this point, neither of them realized the problem lay with themselves. Mi-yeong thought there might be a secret code for such transactions. The next second, Ji-hai was on the verge of collapse, but Mi-yeong, full of confidence, insisted this was how they would get the goods, vowing it would work. Seeing the shop owner about to take action, Ji-hai jumped up.
What is this magic perfume you keep talking about?
매직 퍼퓸, 매직 퍼퓸. 뉴트럴, 퍼퓸. 그래서 하이그, 릴렉스.
Her desperate struggle paid off as the shop owner turned away and fetched a large bottle of magic perfume. Thinking he might cause trouble, Mi-yeong quickly told her sister-in-law to hold her breath. The shop owner then cheerfully introduced his air freshener, while Ji-hai, utterly dismayed, stared at the three large characters on his waist. Once outside, she looked completely defeated. Mi-yeong complained about the potential scam, grumbling about the 150,000 won price tag for just 3 characters. As they glanced up, they saw a sign hanging at the alley's entrance. Ji-hai, frustrated, insisted that her sister-in-law try the tattoo experience. Eventually, Mi-yeong found herself lying on the tattoo table.
문양 기가 막힌 걸로 하나 골랐습니다.
Like Ji-hai, she made frantic gestures as the shop owner started working. This time, They seemed to have found the right person. The shop owner quickly understood and went to the back room.
제대로 찾은 것 같아.
When he returned, he was holding a gun they had been exposed all along. Just then, a group of people entered, including the clothing store owner.
옷 존나 크다. 응? Pretty please?
The shop owner ordered his accomplices to deal with the two women. Seeing the thugs brandishing weapons one after another, both Mi-yeong and Ji-hai panicked. The last weapon turned out to be an electric clipper, prompting even his accomplices to exclaim, "What a freak!" Seeing they were outnumbered, Ji-hai threw a flashlight to Mi-yeong and then poured a cola into the socket to cause a short circuit. As the room plunged into darkness, Mi-yeong, now with the advantage of light, skillfully took down the thugs. The worst off was the guy with the electric clipper, who was forcibly given a new hairstyle. After years, Mi-yeong finally got her hands on a gun. Overwhelmed with excitement, she couldn't resist pulling the trigger. In the end, it was Ji-hai's colleagues who came to their rescue and got them out. Their tech-savvy colleague called to inform them that the target vehicle was spotted at a nightclub parking lot. However, none of the male colleagues were willing to help. With a rare chance for a big bust, they were eager to catch drug dealers. Showing no interest in this minor peeping Tom case, Mi-yeong's husband, unable to stand it, offered to help, noting that he was, after all, a civil servant for over 10 years. But before he could finish his sentence, the sister-in-laws had to set off once more on their mission. Ji-hai let her hair down, adjusted her outfit, and with her 5 feet 7 inches height and long legs, instantly transformed into a stunning beauty. Mi-yeong, unable to hold back, commented, "To catch a criminal, you have to sacrifice your looks? Watch me, the top dog of Sangmyeong, get in with my skills." The next moment,
안다.
네.
저희가요, 88년생 위로는 입장하실 수가 아예 없으세요.
Mi-yeong protested, "Just because I look a bit mature doesn't mean I'm not a millennial. Which of your eyes can't see that?" Despite her arguments, security refused to let her in. Left with no choice, Ji-hai went in alone. A group of young people came out of the nightclub's back door, their overly excited state making Mi-yeong suspect they had been using drugs. She suspected the balloons they held contained nitrous oxide. Without hesitation, she grabbed one, but the balloons were filled with helium, and the funny voices made the young people burst into laughter, which completely infuriated Mi-yeong. Using the pretense of smoking, she fiercely taught them a lesson. Inside, Ji-hai had found the suspect. She was just about to gain his trust when the man looked down and saw her FBI tattoo.
FBI?
At the entrance, Mi-yeong was still complaining about Ji-hai not answering her phone, only to see her being dragged up by 2 men. She tried to intervene but was blocked. It turned out the thugs had called for backup. Mi-yeong panicked as she saw Ji-hai about to be taken away. A hand grabbed her collar. It was Young-bong, who used to be under her thumb back in Sangmyeong. Sporting a gold chain and watch, Young-bong had clearly turned rogue since leaving Sangmyeong. Now, he dared to challenge Mi-yeong, forgetting the fear he once had of her. But the outcome was the same. Young-bong was swiftly taken down. Meanwhile, Ji-hai's abduction was spotted by her brother, who immediately commandeered a delivery scooter to give chase. Mi-yeong, furious at her clueless husband, yelled, "How am I supposed to get on if you don't stop?" The man knew his drug operation had been compromised by Ji-hai, so he vowed to use her as a test subject and post her nude photos online. Just as he was about to act, Mi-yeong stormed in. It proved once again that relying on men was pointless. Mi-yeong took down several henchmen in quick succession, but even she met her match this time. Boosted by drugs, the gang leader's fighting prowess was overwhelming. He not only knocked Mi-yeong down but also kicked Ji-hai aside. As he was about to make them all try his new drug, his subordinates stopped him. The hideout had been exposed, and more police were surely on the way. Even while planning their escape, they had no intention of letting the trio go easily. When Mi-yeong woke up from unconsciousness, she found the entire lab on fire, and the 3 of them were tied up. If they didn't find a way to save themselves, they would soon be roasted alive. Mi-yeong tried to move her hands and found that the iron frame behind her could cut through the ropes, so she quickly told everyone to start moving. The man was almost in tears. "Why am I always the one getting hurt while trying to survive?" But under Mi-yeong's intimidating presence and the fire approaching his rear, he had no choice but to follow along. As he looked up, he noticed bottles containing unknown chemicals swaying and moving. God knows what those bottles contained, but his wife and sister didn't care. The next moment, the man felt that with a bit of chili powder, he'd be ready to serve. Mi-yeong finally cut through her ropes, but before she could celebrate, the man warned her. Luckily, Mi-yeong was agile enough to dodge in time. Seeing that the siblings hadn't freed themselves yet, she picked up a wooden stick and extinguished the flames on it. Once the rope was successfully cut, she quickly told Ji-hai to get out of the way and then did the same for her husband. Not wanting his wife to think less of him, he put all his strength into it until the rope started smoking. The three of them hopped out of the lab just before it exploded.
미안해요. 내가 놓쳤어요.
The sisters-in-law returned to the civil affairs office. Mi-yeong asked their tech-savvy colleague if she had tracked down the suspect, but she looked uneasy. That's when Mi-yeong realized that she was going to be dismissed for leaving her post without permission. At that moment, the victim's friend called to report that the online likes had exceeded 30,000 and that the suspect was about to release the hidden video. Back at the police station, Ji-hai found her colleagues celebrating a major drug bust. The news was broadcasting another story about a female college student who had been drugged, filmed, and driven to suicide after the footage was posted online. What made Ji-hai furious was that her male colleagues didn't see it as their problem, since solving a voyeurism case didn't bring any rewards, unlike a drug bust. Ashamed to associate with them, Ji-hai grabbed a gun and threatened the suspect, demanding the mastermind's whereabouts or she'd blow his head off.
성상 유출 피해 요소. 잠깐만 빌리자.
선배
In the ensuing chaos, the normally silent team leader stepped in. His sense of justice was unwavering even in winter. The leader took responsibility for Ji-hai's actions and ordered everyone to mobilize.
너 경찰 다시 해야겠다. 체질이네.
He even called Mi-yeong's boss. It turned out that the boss was also a former member of the police squad. His real purpose in dismissing Mi-yeong from the civil affairs office was to bring her back to the team. The boss not only supported Mi-yeong's mission but also handed her his own handcuffs. Finally, they were no longer fighting alone. With backup and information support from the Civil Affairs Office, the city's surveillance system was fully activated. They discovered the suspects had split into 3 groups, and the police quickly divided to pursue them. 2 accomplices were soon caught.
이건 지우자. 뭔 일 있었음?
Interrogation revealed that the mastermind had a copy of the video and planned to flee the country. Surveillance provided a clue. After a high-speed chase that caused damage across several commercial streets and injured numerous bystanders, they finally stopped the suspect's car.
실장님이 책임지신다고.
Mi-yeong cornered the man in a mall, but even with Ji-hai's help, they couldn't overpower him, and Mi-yeong was taken hostage. After firing a blank, Ji-hai mimicked Mi-yeong's old trick, emptying the bullets from the gun. Just as everyone thought they were about to play Russian roulette, she threw the gun away. Unexpectedly, the husband proved his worth by diverting the suspect's attention. Taking advantage of the moment, Ji-hai struck out with her long 5 feet 7 inches leg. Mi-yeong seized the moment and executed a stunning takedown, leaving everyone in awe. When the two high-fived in celebration, the husband looked bewildered. It turned out that even a bumbling husband had his uses. He could still draw fire and create distractions. In the end, Mi-yeong's tenacity earned her a return to the police squad after 10 years, teaming up with Ji-hai to form the best partnership.